All right. I just took a picture previously, so welcome back. Shelby and I have just been chatting about a memory that came up with week 6, I believe it is, and a boy. So we're going to actually go back into that memory, and you'll hear the replay of it, but more in a hypnotic form, or a dropping in of really experiencing it. And then we can go in and actually reprogram that, because expressing yourself as an individual, as your authentic self through clothing is really vital. And a lot of times we end up limiting ourselves because of other people's opinions or negative feedback that we've gotten. But clothing and adorning ourselves is probably it's a huge aspect of really becoming in alignment and being authentic and stepping out and showing and revealing our whole self. All right. Yes.
So, do I just need to say it all again?
You can if you want, or we can just go right into the memory, and then you can kind of share within the memory of what's happening.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. I actually need to take my shoes off. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna have you just take some nice deep breaths and begin to get really in this present moment. Feel the seat beneath you. Breathe out anything from earlier in today, we've got on some interesting topics of conversation already, and just know that you're just right here in this moment. Breathe in this moment deeply, and breathe out anything that is of the past, of the future, that is just not right here, right now. Feel again that chair beneath you. Feel the weight of your body in it. And now I want you to go on to that timeline that we've done before. So we're going to go backwards on the timeline, and I want you to see what color the line is today.
Yellow.
Okay, beautiful. And so on this yellow timeline, as we're going to go backwards in time, you're going to go backwards in time to that exact moment when in that morning before school you were putting on those white bell-bottom fringed pants, and you were just like so empowered and so rocking it. You were so excited. You knew that you were just gonna like crush the day, and you were in your fullest expression of who and what you are. I want you to take notice of the fact that you feel safe in this moment as well, correct? I want you to feel that you feel really like creative and full of expression right now with your sacral chakra, like totally open and feeling amazing. And then I want you to move up into your solar plexus, and I want you to feel that you really feel like empowered and whole and excited. Yes? Okay, so I want you to take notice that in this moment at 10, 11, 12, you actually had fully open and balanced root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus in this moment. Pretty incredible. So I want you to begin the kind of fast forwarding of getting to school, of getting to that moment, and you're still feeling so excited. You are loving these pants. You are loving wearing them. You are like just walking down the halls feeling so amazing. And right before anything comes out of that boy's mouth, I want you to pause right before that moment. And let me know when you're there. Okay. Now, as your higher self, I want your higher self to actually substitute what that boy said with what your higher self thought about you in that moment. I want the words that come out of his mouth I want them to be from your higher self. So I want them to be totally in authenticity of who and what you are. So if you want to share as it's coming out of his mouth, if you want to say that, or if you want to listen and then say it, either way is fine. But I don't want any of his words to come out of his mouth. I only want words, like I want your higher self to speak through him. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
All I can think is that I was rocking them jeans.
And so I want you to hear that come out of his mouth. You are rocking those jeans. And then I want you to hear him say that all throughout the day. You are rocking those jeans. So much so that other kids begin to chime in. Shelbie, you are rocking those jeans. Oh my God, Shelbie, those jeans! You are rocking them today! All throughout the day, there is a whispering and a murmur happening about how you are just rocking those jeans. And now get to the end of the day. Go back home. Look in yourself in the mirror with those jeans on. And just see how much you rocked those jeans that day. Do you still feel your root chakra, your sacral, and your solar plexus intact and whole?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want you, anytime that something comes up for you where you do not feel safe, or you're not feeling creative, or you're feeling blocked in any of these, I want you to go back to this moment of you're rocking those jeans. And to just go right back to it and light up all three of those chakras, right back into alignment, simply with this memory. And when you're ready, you can come back to this moment and open your eyes.
Does feel a little better. Think of it that way.
So, it's not that we're discounting. There's nothing that you could do to go back in the time to like punish him or make him feel bad. So there's literally no reason to continuously hold on to him and that moment now.
Right.
And so you can go and, he was doing his own thing. Whatever was going on with him, that was his journey.
Yeah.
It does not have to be a part of your journey anymore.
Right. And it's weird, I feel like, with me, even the people that did do things like that or that wronged me, I never wanted to go back and punish them.
Right.
But I never let go of what they did to me.
Right.
Right. But I didn't ever have that, like, revengeful feelings.
Right. Well, it just kind of added on to, like, oh, I'm really not worth it.
Yeah.
You internalized it rather than trying to push it out towards them.
Right. Right.
So everything was just constantly pulled back into you, making you feel less than, making you feel less worthy, making you feel not enough.
Right.
So through this process, and each time we do one of these, if something comes up again, where maybe you're holding on to that, you can do this process.
Yeah.
Go right to the point right before, and then shift it. And if you can't think of an alternate thought, that's where having your higher self share their thoughts of you, because your higher self always has the purest, most whole thoughts of you.
Mm-hmm.
And so shifting that to only listen to those compliments and affirmations and insights from your higher self versus other kids that were most likely struggling and insecure and not enough.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I love that we got to get you to a memory where all three of those chakras are lit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in alignment.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't feel like we've gotten to that space before.
Yeah, I don't think so, really.
And so it's interesting that it was like this crushing memory.
Yeah.
That actually brought that wholeness back.
Right. Right. That's so true.
So I think that's a vital component to realize is literally every experience that we go through reminds us and can remind us to actually bring us back to our wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not there to crush us.
Yeah. It's all about how you look at it, I guess.
And these moments in time actually ignite or trigger something that we were either in our wholeness right before and the damage fractured or broke that wholeness, but you can always go to right before that moment. And recapture that.
Yeah.
So know that there is always a before.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to think of it like that too, like going back even to like our first session, or our second one, I guess, thinking about what happened to me as a baby and like all of that. It's hard to realize that there was a before because it started so young.
Right.
So it's hard for my brain to like think that way sometimes, you know?
So this was a perfect experience in that.
Yeah.
Because despite all of the trauma that you had as a baby and an infant and a toddler and a child, you were still able to experience full, integrated, whole chakras.
Yeah. I almost have started to think about my childhood as not so bad anymore. You know, a lot throughout my life, I've always said, you know, oh, my childhood was so bad. You know, we went through so much. It was so terrible. But throughout the work that I've been doing, it doesn't feel like that as much anymore. Yeah. You know, there was a lot of trauma, but there was also good things. I may not remember all of them, but they were there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it does help me think about it a little bit differently like that. And
again, the trauma is there so that you can create connection. You know, it's an interesting dynamic because you'd never wish that upon anybody.
Right.
And yet, because you've gone through it, you can almost see, like, but if I didn't experience this.
Yeah. I would be a totally different person today.
Right.
Yeah. For sure. So, in a way, I guess I'm grateful for some of the things that I went through because it has made me a much different person than I could have turned out to be.
And it doesn't mean that you know, anybody's off the hook or anything like that. It's you. You get to be free.
Yeah.
You get to live life again.
Yeah.
You get to experience being enough.
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't felt like that in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it's most of my life.
Yeah.
I've always felt less than.
Right.
You know? So it's good to not feel like that.
That's exciting. So I want to go back into one more memory. And I want to go back to a memory where you felt completely safe. Without trauma happening around you and feeling safe, like with your brother. You did experience feeling safe with your brother, but there was still a lot of fear and trauma happening.
Right.
So I want to go back through and get us really solid memory to hook into that feeling of safe. And then maybe we can find one more pleasure moment to hook those two together. Okay. Because I want feeling pleasure to feel safe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Because I still, like I said, I think a lot of what we're going to be focusing on still is like creating a really solid root, sacral, and solar plexus foundation.
Yeah.
And that way when you go into more of the esoteric kind of like psychic abilities or intuitive thoughts or anything like that, when you are getting any sort of insights or whatever, you can trust them fully and they feel safe and you're in that creative zone.
Yeah.
And you're not doubting or anything like that.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've struggled with is, self-doubt, doubting, like, did that really happen? Is that true? Things like that. Even now, with some of the things that I've kind of discovered, at first it was kind of like, well, did that really happen?
Right.
Or am I just envisioning that happened?
Right.
So I definitely think, I do still have some of that to work on, and feeling sure about myself. I know that these things happened.
Right.
It's just the exact memory of it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And your exact memory would not be anybody else's exact memory anyway.
Right.
So sometimes it's a matter of just feeling safe enough to get that, like, not the flood, but like the whole aspect. See the whole picture, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so when you get to that place of feeling completely safe in order to do that, that whole picture will come in and you will be in that wholeness.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be all these fragments and missing
because there still is a lot of just like pieces that are coming together.
Right.
I'm still trying to think of a time when there wasn't chaos going on that I felt totally safe.
Yeah, so we're gonna use the timeline to find it.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and just take a breath. And we're gonna go back onto that timeline. And what color is the timeline now?
It's still yellow.
Okay, perfect. And so we're going to go backwards in time on this timeline. And in this timeline, I want you to go back to a lit up point in the timeline where you felt completely safe. And it doesn't matter how old you were. I'd like it to be under the age of 7, but if it doesn't happen, then that's totally fine. I just want you to go back to a space and go to that lit up part of your timeline right now, and then we will find and discover the memory that is waiting there.
Okay.
So are you kind of just hovering or seeing a lit up space in time right now?
I can see a memory.
Okay.
Of when I was 6. It was my 6th birthday.
Okay.
And I can picture the cake, and I can picture the dress. I had this pink frilly dress that I wore probably every day.
I love it.
And I had the Faith Hill bangs that are all feathered back. And,
Yes.
I can picture that perfectly. And I'm at my grandma on my mother's side. I'm at her house. And I have friends and family all around, and we're singing happy birthday.
I love it. And in this moment, you not only feel safe, correct? But you also have an extreme amount of pleasure. And like anticipation and excitement and joy and feeling supported and surrounded by love. I want you to stay in that feeling, because that feeling was not very prevalent. And so that feeling, I want you to really fill up. It is overwhelming to feel how much support and love and safety and confidence and fulfillment and pleasure all at the same time. as you're really feeling it in your whole body, I want you to know that this is a memory that you can go back to. This is a moment, an expression. Whenever you're feeling this aspect of lack of support, or whenever you're feeling an expression of not feeling enough, or whenever you're feeling like there's just the world is not a safe place, I want you to go to this memory and fill your entire being up with the knowing that you are safe, you are loved, you are supported, and you can have pleasure and happiness. And so I want you to kind of gather up this beautiful little 6-year-old version of yourself in her frilly pink dress, and I want you to just pull her in and infuse her into yourself, because she is as much a part of you as all of the other pieces. And gather her up and bring her back to the present moment, fully integrated into who you are. And when you're ready, you can come back to the present moment and open your eyes.
I cry every year on my birthday. I have always cried every year on my birthday, and that made me cry.
Yeah. And it could be, remembering that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because those were like happy, good tears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can remember that dress perfectly.
Funny that it's an outfit again.
I know. I know. It had like the big pink poofy shoulders and like white lace all over it, and it had like a big poofed out skirt.
I love it.
It was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wore it till I could not no more.
Until it just would not.
Yes.
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 Funny.
Yes. That is one good memory for sure.
Yeah. And as you do this work, I feel like more of those will come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get an equal amount of the trauma, but then you can also go back through and make sure to light up those memories that you were safe.
Yeah.
That you were supported, and infuse those so that there's not this imbalance of memories.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's easier to remember the bad, I guess, sometimes.
Well, they're just imprinted differently.
Yeah.
So it can take a little bit more work to bring up, because they don't have such a strong emotional attachment.
Right.
So that's where sometimes you have to go specifically into those specific emotions of safety.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity. And for you, it might just be like feeling good about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those might have they might have stronger attachments to the negative trauma, like that boy who made fun of you. Mm-hmm. There was a stronger attachment to the negative emotions than there was the positive.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes bringing up those emotions, again, going right before, you can capture that maybe neutrality, or stillness, or being present, and capture the emotions that way. So that even if you're going into a trauma memory, you're going and capturing the previous emotion before that happened too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're getting a full spectrum rather than just flooding your system with these aspects. Especially because you're starting to feel more. You're not having like these crazy emotions of chaos constantly.
Yeah.
You're starting to have more neutral emotions or being present. So gathering up more of those memories to build that emotion up is really helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
It's always just it's so amazing. It's so incredible, like just what comes through.
It is. Like, I couldn't even really think of that moment until I, like, really went into it.
Right.
You know? Because I was sitting here like, man, I can't think of any time I felt safe and whole or whatever. Like, you know? And then just closing my eyes and really focusing on it, it just went there.
Right.
I didn't even have to think about it.
Right. Because our thoughts often are completely disconnected from our intuition and our abilities and our beingness.
Yeah.
So being an overthinker or getting stuck in your head or things like this actually take you away from your ability to see and have insights.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that because I definitely do that still, overthink things, you know? So I could see that.
Yeah. And so that's going to just be a practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be when you notice your thoughts ruminating, which they were when you arrived.
Yes. Yeah.
When you notice those ruminating thoughts where you just literally can't get out of your head, go into that space of just being, either go back to a moment in time when you were completely present, or get to that space, remember your birthday, whatever it is that comes up, but like, go into a space where you can get out of the thinking brain and into the intuitive, feeling, empowered space.
Yeah. It's like I've tried like meditating and stuff in the past, and that's so hard for me. Like it's hard for me to just sit there and not think of anything.
Right. And meditation, I feel, has been conveyed in not really the appropriate way. Like meditation means just being present.
Yeah.
And most people are like trying to get into this space, and it's like, it's literally focusing on washing a dish. Feeling the water, feeling the heaviness.
Yeah.
Being totally immersed in that moment. That's what meditation is.
Yeah. Because like when I think of meditation and the things that I've tried to do in the past, it's like sitting still and just emptying your mind of all thoughts, and it's like that is very hard for me to do. I'm gonna think about something.
You can empty your mind and think about just washing and feeling and being completely present. That is meditation.
And I have been trying to do that, like when I'm cleaning.
Right.
Just focusing on what I'm doing. Right. Not what I'd rather be doing or what I gotta do when I get done doing this. Right. You know, I've just been trying to focus on, okay, you're washing a mirror right now.
Right.
Just wipe the mirror down.
Right. And that is meditation.
Okay. Should be pretty zen by now.
Yeah, so you're like meditating all day. You're getting paid to meditate.
Yes, well, that's nice to think about it that way.
Yeah, you're getting paid to live a spiritual practice.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this nursing the baby kitten today, and I was trying to look something up on my phone, and I went, whoa, my whole being went into that phone.
Yeah.
And into that search and into that thing. And I was like, I'm no longer connected here. And so I remembered like going back to like nursing my own kids and like hearing about people on Facebook while they're nursing and that flood of emotional triggers that's actually going into the babies.
Yeah, you don't even think about that.
While they're nursing.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing no matter what we're doing.
Right.
Whether we're thinking of whatever we're thinking about while you're washing that mirror, you're infusing that mirror with that energy.
Yeah.
So you're actually leaving the entire house filled with whatever your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah.
And so what a lot of people don't realize is while we're gardening, while we're with our kids, while we're cooking, if you're cooking and thinking about this, you're literally putting whatever you're thinking about into that meal.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, I feel like, makes you be more aware of yourself. Like, when you say that out loud and you think about that, it makes you be more aware. Like, okay, well, if I'm pissed off stirring this pot, you know, I'm just going to feed that to my family, and then we're all going to be pissed off. Like, and it's true.
Yes.
I mean, it is.
You're literally consuming those emotions and thoughts that were baked or made into that. Because food absorbs all of that. Yeah. Intention and creativity or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And, you know, being on your phone and trying to do something else with another life form is not, you can't. Like, you just can't. Like, I've done it where I'm trying to do something on my phone and do something with the kids or something. And it's not, you can't do that. It's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, and it's not that you get rid of the phones, just create that intention.
Yeah.
Like, my kids know if I'm doing this and literally typing, I can't pay attention to them.
Right.
So they have to say, excuse me, as if I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
That way I know, because it's interesting, though, because we don't see this as, it's as if you're having a conversation with somebody.
You're interacting,
And so realizing that your whole being is not there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's hard for kids sometimes to understand that, I think.
Right.
But, you know, I have had to just finish what I'm doing and then do the next thing. And I'm really bad about not, like, I try to do all of it at once.
Right.
So I have realized I have to, like, do one thing at a time, or else I don't really get anything done efficiently.
Right. Right. And I think that is part of that, like, self-sabotage. It's part of that. Well, see, look, I'm really not good at anything. And it just, like, creates that more lack, that more self-worth, that more everything. Because you keep proving it to yourself.
Yeah. Because, no, I agree. Like, even before I came here today, I was trying to do too many tasks all at once. And Harlow didn't want me to leave, and you know, I was like trying to do the dishes and tell her bye at the same time, and you know, get things together to leave. And finally, I just stopped everything I was doing and focused on her for like a good, I don't know, probably almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We just talked. I hugged her. I explained to her what I was going to do, why she couldn't come, and finally she was like, okay. You know, and was like normal. But the whole time before that, she was like whining and crying and following me around. And I was like, I gotta go, you know, quit. Like, I'm trying to get something done.
Right.
You know.
And really getting nothing done.
I wasn't. I didn't even finish doing the dishes. Like, I didn't even get them all put away because I was trying to do too many things.
Yeah.
But when I finally just stopped and, like, gave her the attention she needed right then, she calmed down. I didn't feel as bad about leaving.
Right.
And it was fine.
Yeah, the whole intention shifted.
Yes. And I have to just remember to do that in all aspects of my life.
Yeah. And again, it's a practice.
Yes.
That's why any, you know, anything is called a practice. When you're doing a meditation, it's a meditation practice. Like, your relationship with God is a practice. Like, it's not like, oh, check.
Yeah.
I've got
that.
You know? Like, oh, I'm good, you know. Practice that enough. Like, it is a practice. And, you know, the more we practice different reactions, different emotional aspects or feelings, the more we practice different ones, the more we're going to tend to go towards those more often.
Right. And I've been trying to, like, set times, like, to watch the online videos that I'm doing, like, to make it part of my week, rather than just, well, when I have time, I'll do it.
You don't have time.
No.
The time doesn't just, like, magically appear.
No. And now that I'm actually, like, setting times, okay, I'm going to do it on this day.
Right.
You know, then it's actually happening. Like, I'm caught up now. I'm almost to week 7 now. I've already done 6, so now I only have 1 more.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm making myself, like, take the womb baths, and I did my yoni egg video. I didn't post on that one yet.
Okay.
But I did do the video. I did do that one.
Awesome.
So, and it helps. It all really helps. And it all really works. And setting times to do these and intention to do it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's exciting.
I know, it was exciting.
So next session, maybe we can talk a little bit maybe about like the womb bath experiences and go into those a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe gathering up some notes or thought processes about all the different womb bath experiences that you've had, and we can kind of go through those.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Yay. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I love when you can start getting out of the trauma response so that you can start integrating more emotions.
Yeah.
And it's not that the trauma's not there. It's just that when they're initiated or triggered, there's a more spectrum of emotions to choose from.
Yeah.
And it's not just one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for a long time it was just kind of like sadness.
Right.
And depression.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was your emotion. That was the emotion that you had.
Yeah. It feels good not to just feel that all the time.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like you said, the traumas are still there, but I think being aware of them more and like actually feeling them now rather than back then when I was just kind of disassociating and just like going through life, I wasn't able to feel other emotions. I wasn't able to be happy and feel that way a majority of the time because I was so just stuck in the sadness and like not knowing why really.
Right.
So by doing all this, even though I'm reliving these traumas, it feels different.
Well, and you're finally facing them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like opening the closet door and seeing that the boogeyman's not in there.
Yeah.
You know, the buildup and all of that stuff is actually so much more draining than just looking at the actual memory, seeing it, experiencing it fully, and then releasing it. No longer are those emotions like lurking, chasing after you.
Yeah. And it can happen. I mean, I know it's been a few weeks, but like we've talked about before, it felt like, well, it'll take me years to get over this.
Right.
It doesn't.
Right.
Like, I already feel better.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, well, that shouldn't have been so easy.
Right.
You know? Like, it almost feels like, that was easy. But it's not, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it just happens like that. When you face it and you deal with it, then you can feel better.
Yes.
And so it is. It's good. I mean, you just got to start doing it.
Right.
You just got to do it.
Right. And so I really wanted to focus again on that pleasure and safe. And then I feel like next week we can do some of the womb experience baths and then maybe go into that trauma a little bit next week as well.
Okay.
But I feel like having some breaks in between where your body can get flooded with some new, exciting, fresh emotions like it did today and last week is really vital too.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So, that's fun.
It is.
So now you have two new, totally separate empowerment and like rockin' life.
Yeah.
And then just being fully supported and loved and in excitement and safe and pleasurable and
yeah.
Those
are good memories to think about. For sure.
Yay. All right. So I think we're complete for the day.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
And thanks for joining in. If you have any comments or questions or would like to join in the forum that Shelbie was talking about, you can visit the Magical Mothering Method and join in the journey with us. So until then, see you next time.
Bye.